So it's the outline looks fairly simple, right? It's a couple dialogues and interact, kill something, and then we're good to go. So now that we have our outline done, what we would do is actually place it into the map. So here we have a map. Now this has a bunch of stuff that's already placed. And so let me do something really quick. We're going to defeat another enemy. Right here. So this is the map we're going to look at. We call it it's going to be the Hern Forest. I've basically outlined what I want to happen there, and since I built this ahead of time, I've already placed most of the things that are going to happen here. But we've just added a new thing, and here it is, down here in the bottom right corner. Here's the unplaced component. So when you lay things out in the story mode, it'll put all of those things here. So everything that I laid out in the story mode for this map was all here available, and all you do is you just drag it onto the map and drop it. So then that's what I've done for all of these other components for the map. There are two modes here. If we do a quick tour of what this is, we're on the Maps tab. There's two view modes, Detailed and Layout. Layout is for basically putting down the big things, blocking out what you've got. Detail is obviously the details. So if you look here on Encounters, there's 3 actors in this encounter in the Detail view, but it's 1 encounter.
Gotcha.
Over across the top here, we have the list of maps. We can rename our map if we want to, but I like the name of the map, so we're going to leave it. We have Edit Backdrop, which is actually really cool. Let me show you that really quick. We can actually set what the sky and everything is going to look like. So this is,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So these are various fairly straightforward settings. If you want it to be nice and bright like you see in Protector's Enclave, that's what you use. So this will give a little bit of a feeling and ambiance to your map. I like this one a lot, but the bright actually looks pretty cool. We can even add sound to our map. So this is the sounds that you would hear when you go in, and if you can hear it, right, there's some audio playing. So we previewed the sound as soon as you select it. Again, here's the categories to use as filters. So just music. Obviously, if you can see, tons of options. We have ambient sounds that are found all throughout the game. Make the map sound like an inn. Forest ambience seems fairly fitting since this is the Hern Forest, so let's go ahead and use that. But again, right, there's all kinds of categories, tons of choices to choose from to give your map the feeling and the ambience that you want for your quest. And then we actually have more things to do for the sky to really tune it. Again, is to add more layers onto that overview. So we can actually make the map black and white. It'd be fairly interesting.
Oh, wow.
Add dark clouds in the skies, moving clouds, a couple different moving clouds. A nice Shadowfell vortex in the clouds. So there's a lot of stuff that can be done and added to make your map just the way you like. If you want mountains in the distance.
Yeah, I can definitely tell some of this stuff you could think of uses, such as, if it was a quest that had a flashback or something, black and white would be pretty useful.
Absolutely. So there we've edited the backdrop where we've given it an overall backdrop. We've added something to the sky and added some tunes to it. We have component view. This is basically everything. If you prefer to see everything in sort of a list view, and you can go around and select everything, and then look at the individual properties of the thing. Then we have viewing the mission waypoints. If you want to see those, enable rotation and snap angle. Play the map. We'll do that in just a second. Duplicate map. If you really like this map and you want to make a duplicate of it, like for instance, if you have a mission where somebody goes into a door, does a quest, and then comes back out of the door, we actually don't send you to the same map since it's only one mission per map. That statement is a little misleading. You can have a lot of things to do in a map, but once you leave the map, you can't come back to that same map because it basically will have this logic in it. Does that make sense?
Oh, so each time you enter a map, it resets itself to be how it was whenever you first enter.
Right. So you'd have to do. I would have to do a Hern Forest 2, which through duplicate map. And here we have it. See, it's the exact same thing, and then we can just change it whatever we want. So, but if we really like all the layout of everything, but just want to change the encounters, as I'm highlighting, It's really easy to do via the duplicate map, and then this is a whole new thing that players can use. So,
Also, I was wondering, what are the yellow icons? Are those just like decoration type items?
oh, that's a great segue. I'm going to get right into that now. So here we have the asset library, and let's just jump right onto that. So we have details here, and if you see, we have in the detail mode. First of all, you could see the scroll bar, right? It's just that are all the individual details that you could use and place in your quest. Everything ranging from green effects, uh, filtering through building pieces, green screens. I mean, the list goes on and on. There is so much in here, from lighting to effects to random objects, large mushrooms. I mean, we have so much stuff in here, and this list only gets bigger and bigger as the game gets bigger and bigger. So um, we'll get something that's fairly simple. I like this barn stable, um, and you just pick it up, drag it on the map, and that's exactly what it is. So if we zoom in a little bit, you can see the detail. Using the middle mouse wheel is how you zoom. Clicking the middle mouse is how you drag and move the map. But yeah, there's our stable. You can go ahead and you can rotate it however you like. You can change, if you want to, you can change its rotation as well as its position relative to terrain, geometry, zero altitude. You can change the name of it. This isn't very player facing, but it's definitely good for when you're using componentry and keeping track of your assets. So when you drag a detail onto the map, again, right, very misleading, very simple. I put the stable on the map, and it is a stable. But if I want to do more to it, like have it visible only if somebody has a skill, let's say only thieves can see this stable. Because only thieves ever rob or steal horses, I think. So, so
Yeah,
thieves
yeah,
would be able to see the
exactly.
stable. We could actually, I mean, go to NPCs, horses, place the horse in the stable, um, and then I guess there would be horses there, but appear when, I guess never. I have it appear when, I guess if we made this an objective, we can have it appear so the thieves can see the horses. But you could fill it out. Assets can be available only when obviously people have skills. If players have an item, we've done that before. Um, appear when, basically this is what I was doing with the dialogue before, so component complete. And here are all the various components that I already have. So if a person reaches that specific pine tree, you could do it when a component reached, dialogue prompt reached, and we did that before. Um, if we had a dialogue on this map, we could select that. Immediately, objective complete, and then we can select the objectives. There's something going on here. It's not letting me select the objective. I gotta note that down as a bug. This will be one of the objectives that are already in the map, like reaching these points or any of the other mission objectives that we have here. But as you can see, there's a lot of options of when things can appear. Again, going back into the costume, if I don't want it to be a horse, I can have it be something else. Go through the filters, just show all of the animals that we have available currently. And again, this list isn't final. This is going to just continue to grow. If we want that NPC to look like anything that we have basically available, we can. So I'm kind of jumping around here, but let's go back over to this asset library. So we showed what we can do with details and just picking some details and dragging them onto the map. And then there's some things we can do with details. We have special items such as respawn points that again you just drag and drop down fairly easily. These are the in the Foundry. These are the fires that rejuvenate you that you find throughout the world in Neverwinter. So when players get defeated, they'll respawn here, and as well as if players are damaged, they can stand near this fire and they'll get healed up. Markers, and that's what these things are. Again, just drag them, drop them onto the map. And, then we have cluster objects. Most of these trees here are placed with cluster objects. It's just a quick way that you can populate your map that you have. So here we have a bunch of pine trees, and this is actually what I've used here. You can see these fallen logs. Just drag them, and you can see it's a big cluster of objects. And then if that doesn't work for you, hit delete. You go into clusters, drop a cluster, and then you can move the individual items around and rotate them. So there are a lot of cluster objects made. If you instead of having people have to by hand create a stone wall, we've built some of the basic structures that people can use in clusters. But what clusters are mainly used for is quickly populating your map and building out what you need, and then going in and then tweaking it. Things like grass, just lay down, go into detail, move your grass about.
Okay, yeah, I see.
All really cool. And then you go back into layout and say you didn't like any of that grass anyway. Just go ahead and delete it. Hit the delete key. Or you can, as you can see, go up here, duplicate or delete up here. So that's clusters. We have teleporters, which are totally cool. This is just as the name says, teleporters. You go in one end, you pop out the other. We have things that are sort of basic or mundane, go through one cave entrance and pop out the other. We have magic teleporters. We have things like ladders. Ladders going up, jumping down a hole. And this list is fairly small, but again, we're always adding to the Foundry and the things that the authors can use. And again, just as easy as dragging and dropping. And you move one end. And if you go in this side, you pop out over here. If you go in this side, you pop out over here. We'll check that out in a minute. The next thing we have is encounters. And as you can see here, there's our encounters placed. But anytime that you want to add new encounters, they don't necessarily have to be part of your story. For instance, we placed the encounter here for the quest, and I think there's one more here that's part of the story. But the rest of these are just flavor spawns that are placed around the map. And how we do that is just like all of the other things in what we call the picker, this whole thing here. And you just find an encounter you like, you drag, and you put it on the map. Easy as that. You can search for specific things. If you like, I looked for spiders because I have lots of spiders on this map. You can select the difficulty. Any difficulty shows them all. If you just want easy, if you just want hard. And these are just as they sound. Hard difficulty, melee. More melee difficulty, or hard difficulty one. Then we have some standards. We can select melees only, ranged only, or mixed only.
And these, I do have a kind of a general question.
Sure.
Whenever you go into a Foundry quest, I'm guessing things will just be scaled correctly to the correct level.
Absolutely. All of these things, no matter what you do, are scaled to the player's level. So
okay.
now it is hard to the player, right? But it will not be. You can't set the level of these encounters. So
Gotcha,
you can't go in at
gotcha.
level 5 and have to fight level 60 stuff.
Is that true for loot as well? Everything is just scaled and randomized according to your own loot tables?
Yeah, so these encounters are very similar to the ones that you find in the world. So these will drop things that spiders drop, and you know, everything basically has reward tables that are built into the encounters, and they're dropping things at your level that you can use.
Okay.
So we've let's go ahead and drop this encounter down, just another flavor spawn here, not part of the quest. Let's look at some of the things that we can do with encounters specifically. Again, we can duplicate or delete across the top. We can change the name of the encounter here. This is not player facing, but it's really just for tracking. Change their position. If you really want them to spawn in, in the sky and drop in, you can change this value. their rotation. However, you can easily change the rotation of the encounter yourself using the widget. Again, here's the encounter view, just like we had in the picker if you wanted to change your mind. The visibility of when it appears. Again, this is doesn't seem to be working, so we'll skip that. When it disappears, its behavior. So we go into behaviors here, and we have things that it can do. So we can have it just animate and cycle through its own specific animations. You can't set the animations on the encounter. Chat, you can have the encounter say things. Feign death, pretend that it's dead until you get near or start attacking, and it'll pop up. Fight to submission is basically they fight until they reach a certain percentage of health. Follow is lots of fun because an encounter will follow the player around the map, and as soon as it's close enough, it'll start attacking. That one's a fun one to use, but it may not be fun for some people to have to deal with. Looping patrol, we'll check that out in a minute. And then looping patrol is basically running around in a big loop. One-way patrol is basically go from one point to another. True combat is just their combat and they don't go anywhere. And then wander in combat is basically they pick randomly to wander around the map, and then when they see you, they fight you. Let's go ahead and use a one-way patrol, and then we'll look at looping for another one. We'll show you how that works out. So we're going to have them use a one-way patrol. We're going to add a patrol point, and then we're essentially done there. So here we have our encounter, we have our patrol, and our added point. Right? So we're just going to have it walk right over here. So the spider's going to spawn here, walk over there, and stop. And that's it. Let's see. So that's the encounter level. If we go to the details, you can see there are multiple actors in here. So all of these actors are part of the encounter, and again, you can individually rotate each of these guys. You can also, if you like, change the costume per encounter or per actor. So that guy obviously, let's actually make him something else. Make him a pig.
There we go.
I know it's sort of silly. Make this guy a horse. So we made this guy, obviously, he's a pig, not a spider. We can name him a pig. We can change the group names. Actually, let's do it. It's the Barnyard 5. So we have pig, horse. I guess we will. We'll just go for it. Chicken.
You have any cows?
You know what? No. But we have dogs and cats and chickens and pigs and horses.
Okay, that's good.
For now. Thank you. Now I'm taking a note to make cows. All right. So we have these guys. Now the thing is though that they are really spiders, right? That's the encounter we picked. So they're going to have spidery attacks. So they'll probably be shooting webs, and that'll be kind of funny. But hey, there's always a place and a case for that kind of options, and I can imagine a story where that makes perfect sense. They were, bitten by a radioactive something.
Yeah, sure. We'll go with that.
Yeah. All right. So we've looked at encounters. We've seen that you can place an encounter, and it just is absolutely fine if you just pop it down. It will just act like a bunch of spiders. Excuse me. But if we want, we can go in and tweak it, every single aspect of it that is, that is available, down from what it looks like, and to what its behaviors are, to the name of the group it's in, to the name of the thing that it is, all kinds of stuff. We looked at details, so how easy it was to just pop these details down. These were in details, and you can just rotate them as much as you like. We have traps. And these are obviously things to abuse players with. And these go down just like anything else, drag and drop, and there's your trap.
It wouldn't be D&D without traps.
Exactly. And we have basically the target of the trap, the trigger of the trap, trap itself, and then the whole thing, right? So if a player crosses this part right here, they're going to get shot with some darts. There's not really anything that we need to call it, but for tracking purposes in the componentry, we can definitely name it.
And so, once again, for all of the traps and this kind of stuff, the damage and stuff is scaled just to the player level.
Absolutely. What the author can do is select the type of trap that they place, and then there's obviously, steam traps, poison, disease. So it's kind of the type of damage it does. The author can't set the amount of damage, the scale of the damage, or anything like that.
Right.
It's all scaled to be appropriate for the level of the player playing. I mean, we want to give a ton of freedom to the author to make some really, really cool stuff, and they absolutely can. We also, right, it's a community, right? The Foundry is not just about people making stuff. It's about people playing the stuff that gets made. And we want everybody to have a good time, or and be able to play through and experience it, and not feel that it's overtly painful or difficult just because of something that may have been done on accident. So just want to make sure that people can have a good time playing, and really give the mad props to the authors for making that stuff. So it's all really about building that community and giving people a fun time making this stuff and a fun time playing it. And we looked a little bit at NPCs. Basically when we clicked in and we looked at we saw how we can select costumes. And we're going to look at that a little bit more in the costume tab. But right now, what I want to do is basically hop into this map. Right, we've been through this tab. We've went through each of these things. We've been through the whole picker, and there's tons of options and stuff there. We've laid out a bunch of stuff in our story to do. Let's just go ahead and play it. That was a lot to go through, and I really I thank you for sticking with me. There's a couple of hiccups, but in open beta we'll get those figured out. It could technically be something to do with my project. But
yeah, with so many moving parts, it's hard to tell. I mean, obviously, you know about that, as a developer and stuff.
So as you can see, right? I mean, just like we did with the testing the dialogue, I played the map and I loaded the map. That was pretty fast, and I have my guy. As you can see, I'm level 1. I could hop out and respec my character, but look, there's a bunch of spiders. I have all my stuff here.
Oh, yeah, there's the portal.
There's the portal we placed. Oh, there's my spiders. Oh, I'm sorry. The farm. So there's my chicken. That's great. The horse. As you can see, I mean, right, obviously horses and farm animals aren't set up to use the attack animations of spiders. So there was attacks happening. But again, it's the freedom, right? If that's what the author wants to make, and if that's what players, want to do, there's nothing wrong with it. So it seems that everything's basically working. Oh, my health is low. Good thing there's a fire up here. I'm a level 1 test character, so I don't really have any potions or anything. When you respec to different levels to test out on the various player levels, so that you can basically test the balance of difficulty as players progress up. Sometimes an author wants to create something that's specifically targeted towards a level band, and then they'll put that in their description. They can do that by setting their test character level, going through and seeing how it plays at the level band that they like. Seems to be working pretty good. I got a bunch of spiders. The map looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and keep going here. However, I don't know. I kind of don't like how this log appears. So let's go ahead and change that. What we can do is actually enable 3D editing in the preview mode. So in the 2D mode, I placed all of this stuff, right? In fact, let me change the draw distance, as you can see. I've placed all this stuff, and maybe some of the stuff didn't end up being right where I wanted it, so I can actually just move that stuff.
Oh wow.
And using these buttons, I can actually change to translate, rotate, and also using the short keys of Q and E, and change that as well. So, hey, if I want, I can just have this floating in the sky, and that's how it's going to be, right? There's no gravity or anything; it's not going to fall down. Where I place it in the world in the editor is where it's going to be when I play it. So, but I didn't like where it was placed, kind of overlapping the spider web. Uh, so I'm just going to go ahead and move it. Just going to tweak this placement a little bit. Yeah, that looks better. I like that. In fact, this tree, I don't like how that's placed either. Ah, yes, bent trees. Oh,
Perfect.
that'll be cool. So maybe a player can use this to climb up something. Oh, that'll be cool. So as you can see, there's some cool stuff you can do. This is one of the biggest features that we added to the Foundry for Neverwinter is we call it the nudger. It's not a full 3D editor because there's lots of stuff that you know, the full 3D editors obviously have and can do that we don't have. So basically, we're just kind of nudging stuff around, right? Um, but what we can do that's cool is that we do have all kinds of cut, copy. Let me go ahead and I'm going to hit Control V. Just going to paste that tree. In fact, if you look at my map and all these trees I placed, you kind of see that they're kind of following a similar path, right? They kind of look fairly uniform.
Right.
It's because I did this and just pasted them as I ran. Paste, 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 paste. Now I have a nice uniform row of trees.
Okay, yeah. So that I can see that this makes it a lot easier to just edit stuff on the fly because I could imagine that if you came into the game to test something, ran over to where it was, realized it was a little off, came back into the regular Foundry, had to tweak it, then go back into the map, look at it, that'd make things it just make the whole process a lot more annoying.
Absolutely. So our goal was to make it as easy as possible. I think when we started off, we were looking at what we can do. We had the overworlds with the 2D editor, and we're like, that's pretty cool. But we knew we had to kick it up a notch and make it even easier. I think having to go back and forth to tweak everything is uh, it took a lot of time, right? And it really took the traps here. Oh man, traps. It took a lot of time and fun out of being able to being creative, right? And that's what the Foundry dev team, what we really wanted to enable authors to do is just hop in and make it easy and just be creative without having to think of all of every single aspect of what they were doing. Now, of course, authors will and do and have tweaked every single possible thing that they could, and and we wanted the option of having a little bit more of a simple interface in the 3D world. So there we have our 3D stuff. As you can see, we did translate and rotate with our quick keys of Q and E, and it switches over here. I showed you the copy and the paste. We also have undo, so Control Z. See what the last thing I did. Let's probably move this tree. Um, and then once we're done with this, we can basically just move on to the next map. So we've tested it. There's a guy here. Stuff seems to be working. We've tweaked some of the locations of the stuff that we have. Um, and then we can go ahead and just return to the Foundry. There's our
And I
map.
like that you kept the same shortcuts that everyone's already used to. So
Well,
it's
absolutely.
going to be very natural.
Yep. So there we've looked at the Maps tab. That's the exterior maps. There is also in the interior maps. We'll go through that really quick. I won't go through too much over here because we did that for exteriors, and most of everything here stays the same. Right, just all these encounters, and you can place down waypoints and obviously objects here. The new thing that appeared for interiors, the new button here was rooms, and these are these proper rooms. So let's go back and we'll hop out into layout mode, um, and let's use the dungeon kit. I like this one a lot. It looks pretty cool, and what would the game be like without dungeons? Let's go ahead and show you how we build a interior map out using the rooms. Um, so we'll start off in this cool room here. As you can see, you fully rotate it, zoom in using the middle mouse wheel, get an idea of what it's going to look like, and then just place it. And that's it. We place this room. Um, You build out your map by placing down the new pieces. It automatically creates a door. If you don't like the way that it's rotated, you can change the rotation. If you don't like the way that it's hooked up to each of the pieces are hooked up together, you can move it. Um, you can see it just sort of stacks.
Wow, the way that it automatically creates a door is
Yeah.
that's awesome.
If I don't like that door, I can move it. So
Wow.
for the aesthetic, if I really want the doorway to be in the center, I can totally do that. Um, not, that door won't work because there is a piece of geo here. Um, but if that was something I needed to change or wanted to change, you can just place a different room. Um, so as you can see, it's pretty fast. You can imagine how fast you can build a map. We have fairly large, detail-y rooms that's got stuff in them with lighting, as you can see here. But if you wanted to quickly detail a room, you can right-click the room and you can populate it, and it populates it with basic stuff. And if you go into details, you can then move those things. So just like with cluster objects, you can just easily fill out a space. We kind of have that in the interior map editor using the populate feature. Now it populates it with stuff that is sort of appropriate for this kit. And then if you ever wanted to, change what was in there, obviously you go to details, and all those same details are here and available. With rooms, we definitely don't need to just stick with dungeons. Now, not all room pieces will fit together, right? Some kit pieces have what's called doors anywhere, and that's what you've sort of seen in here, right? It just creates a door for you, and then some pieces, as you can see, have doors in specific locations, and that's just to sort of maintain the integrity of the detail of the pieces, and also have doorways that we can place down. So those two things link right up. So I can go into from a nice crypt into a dungeon, and then we have caves. These also have some doors that line up, and then there's let's see if I find an example here. Human interiors. See, it won't line up, right? It's just this piece is the interior. Basically, this is like the inside of a human house. It's just a little too small to fit to line up to some of the things, right? So not every kit works with every other kit, but quick way around to figure that out. Just
Oh,
add yourself
there
a
you go.
teleporter.
That's what teleporters are for.
Yep. Now we tried really hard to make sure that everything fit together, but in some cases the things are just built in different scales, so we weren't able to match everything up. We definitely do as much as we can, but we want to think of a solution for the author. So you can still have that piece, even though the doors don't exactly line up. You can definitely use any of the kit pieces and link them together and use them all in the same map. So we added a bunch of rooms here. I have something that's kind of already set up over here, and in fact, it has our player respawn points here. So that's in the special tab here for the respawn point. But a spawn point, which is this one is called, and the respawn point here, is automatically placed into the map. You don't really do anything with it, but you can change the rotation of which way the player faces when they get in here. Wow, as you can see, there's a lot of encounters right next to the spawn point. Oh, okay, let's maybe move this guy back so he's a little bit safer.
Yeah.
You move in here. So again, we have our interiors. A little bit more about the right click. We can definitely clear the room of all of the things that we've placed in there. We can copy the room and cut it. We can also play from here, so that if you don't want to start in from the spawn point and you just wanted to see how, say, this room played, you can just play the map from here, and you'll spawn in right there. But most of
Oh,
the times, if you
perfect.
just hit play map, you'll spawn into the normal spawn point. Again, you can edit the backdrop. We've done that before. Just the same. So these are interior versions. When you're in the exterior map, you're in the exterior versions. So you can just tweak it as much as you like. Let's go ahead and try that black and white. You can change the lighting. No lights, torches. Each of the kit pieces have different options. Over here. See? It's different. Lots of options here for the crypts. I'm gonna play the teleporter. Get over here.
Everything's better with teleporters.
Absolutely.